Hey David, I just wanted to give you an overview on video of where we've spent your money, what we spent your money on so far, and what we're going to use our next draw for, just so you can kind of get a feel for it. You can see the ground is nice and soft. It's been raining a lot here, and you can see where it's sunken in, where we backfilled. All of this backfill here will all get planed out eventually when we start doing your foundation, which is hopefully within the by next week we can start up. Just want to show you right here where we're standing. This is your septic tank to your specifications. Your two holding tanks right here, split by a divider right down the middle. You can hear the guys working on Leah's roof right now. What we're doing is, I haven't sealed these two tanks yet. These are the access points for them, and they're just rough access points right now because I just want to make sure that there's no dirt and mud, frogs, and that kind of thing that get into your holding tanks. So your holding tanks are each 2 meters deep. What I'm going to do is, after the house is built, before anybody uses any shower sinks or toilets, we're going to fill these two tanks up equally at the same time with water, therefore putting equal amount of pressure on the dividing wall, because I don't want to fill up, I don't just want to seal it, start using it, fill up one side and have that dividing wall fall. I don't think it would with the pressure of the water, but I don't want to take any chances, and I've been told by numerous contractors that that's what we're going to do. So we'll get a pipa of water in here, a big water tank truck, come in here and fill her up, and then we'll seal it off. And I had it lowered, I had your entire tank lowered about 4 to 5 inches below ground level. Again, we'll put the gravel and piedrine over top of this, so it's a little bit drains a little bit easier, which is that half-inch gravel. So it drains a little bit easier, compacted. So in the end, all you're going to see is a nice, perfect little concrete access hole for pumping, which is just to code. Again, we engineered this, you engineered this, so that we never have to pump or have to do anything. And again, you'll be able to flush your toilet paper. You got your 4-inch pipe coming in. This is your intake pipe going into the two tanks, and here's your vent over here. Now, like I had said in my email, the Alcaldía recommended that we put it here due to the distance from your well for code, but it won't be that big of a problem. It'll only cost us maybe $25 more in tubing material to get your vent to run to the side of your house and up your wall, and your intake be over here. So it's really not that big of a deal. Your house is, by the time we're done with your house, you'll be about 25 feet from here. So running an extra 25 feet of tubing isn't that big of a deal. Now you can see over here in front of me is where this is where your tanks end. This is where your manifold comes in, and you've got 4 leach fields going out to your temporary bodega. Let's show you your temporary bodega. It's just new zinc sheeting up top, and a little bit of pine. The majority of the expenditure for this was your floor. You have to put in a solid flooring. So what we did was we dry stacked piedra canteras, which are those big blocks that are cut from one slab of rock, or mined from one slab of rock. The old building material that they use down here all the time. So we packed in there just so we can store all of our tools high and dry, mainly for cement, that kind of thing, things that need to stay completely dry. And then we ran it out a little bit so the guys can be out here with the planer, planing wood, tying columns of steel, of rebar together, that kind of thing. If it's raining, that's not going to slow down their work. So this is kind of another essential to get your house going. All right, David, so this is your Swiss Family Robinson style hidden water tank. The trees on your lot weren't strong enough to hold a tank of this size, especially if we wanted to provide water for Jolien and Nicole when the power's out like we wanted to. So just in the green space is a big ceiba tree. We're good with it. It's all good. The cool thing about the way that we designed this and engineered it is that there's not one nail or screw in this tree at all. It's all counterbalanced and put up there big fort style. Super neat, super awesome. We used Níspero, which is a type of wood. It's really, really hard wood, and the bugs won't touch it, lasts forever. So we won't have to it's virtually maintenance free. And then accessed by a rope ladder built with the same cross beams in the wood, the same kind of wood.
You can see the tubes running down. What I eventually want to do is cap all those tubes so it's one run of tubes down with galvanized piping. Right now you can see the 3 tubes. One is enter, exit, and of course the electric for your buoy switch on and off for the tank for your levels of water. You can always make sure that there's always water. So if the power happens to go out for Julian and Nicole, or even for yourself, if the power happens to go out and you hadn't pumped your water and it was at a low level, you make sure you always have a full tank up there. You can see the tubes come down. We're dug underneath all the roots of this tree and run subterranean all the way to your pump, which is inside the well. Now we had to buy another 1 horsepower pump. I know you had talked about sharing pumps and wells and all this, but the 1/2 horsepower submersible pump that Napoleon had, Napoleon, that Julian and Nicole had originally purchased, and Leah, isn't powerful enough, being a submersible pump and only a 1/2 horsepower, to put water up into your tank. So we had to buy a less expensive, but just as equally as quality. It's just because it's just a pressure pump. It's not a submersible pump. So the pressure pump itself will be easier to add lengths of tube to. We had it custom wired so it's hanging inside your well so that we can seal the top from somebody stealing it, and it's down low enough, again, on those planks of Nispero and stainless steel cable running up to the top. It's kind of a neat way that we did it. I think you'd really appreciate the way we engineered this whole thing. It's been really fun and cool to play around with, and very, very low footprint on any of the surrounding areas here. So I think we're doing a great job right now. You can see we hardwired a box right here, just temporary, because this temporary 3-line covered runs directly to the lines above us. So we're waiting right now for Union Fenosa, the electric company here in Nicaragua, to come out and give us the okay stamp and give us both Nicole and Julian, which I've been waiting for up to 6 months now, for our meters. So right now it's just kind of hardwired in here so that it works, so that we can have water to run your construction. Let's go show you your well. Okay. All right, David, this is where we've roughed in your water spigot for construction purposes. This is going to be about the back, a couple feet up from where the back of your house is going to end, the back of the bodega and casita area, your first level, and back here, and you can see plenty of water pressure. Plenty of water pressure at a 1-inch pipe, and we'll reduce it to 1/2 inch once we actually build the house. We'll reduce it to 1/2 inch, and you should have plenty of water pressure. So we're good on this. Your well sealed up, completely wired in and sealed up, hardwired in, sealed up, ready to go. Access hole, so you're all good. Pump, you can see where your stainless steel cable right here is coming out. Just 2 small holes in there, not allowing anything in, but also only allowing access to the pump if you can get in here. And eventually we'll seal this completely up so that only ourselves can have access to that pump. So you're good to go. Let's go over here and show you your material. All right, so this is all your material, the cascajo that they use, which is just broken shale and dirt, which is what we're going to use to backfill. First, we're going to build a nice building pad so that we're a little bit higher than the road, so that if this area ever floods at all, it will never be an issue with your house. And then what we'll do is just use it to dig into our vigas, doing our footings and around at the 25 foot by 25 foot, and of course for your 2 main pillars for your deck. We'll backfill with all this, compact it, put down the plastic, and pour a floating floor, all tied in by rebar, just like we had discussed on the email. All of which we're also going to run 2 vigas out, connected to your main foundation. Will be your 2 footings for 2 or 3, depending on which way we engineer it for your decking. But as those footings stick out of the ground, maybe 8 to 10 inches. We'll also have, if you can imagine, an upside down T plate material welded together coming out. So all you'll see is about a 4-inch wide, 10 to 12 inch slab of 1/4 inch plate metal coming out. And what we'll do is we'll leave that ready for us to install those beautiful wood columns. We'll install them the way that we do it back home. Down here, they tend to just sink it directly into a hole filled with concrete. And if you're lucky, they might tar it. But what I really want to do is make sure that we can, down the road, years and years down the road, if we need to replace these beams, that all we have to do is jack it up and pull those out and replace them. Also to make sure that no water gets to them or bugs or any way down. So I want no contact with the cement, either by creating a rubber gasket after the cement's dried or just by boat resining the bottom, so that any water that hits your footing won't run up into the bottom of your wooden post, suck up that water, creating rot or anything. So we'll do that by having these big beams, and I'll show you pictures of some examples, but cutting a slice up the middle, placing it directly on the middle of that plate metal, and bolting it through two or three big holes, through big bolts, bolting them together, holding those together, either on a rubber gasket or not. And we can finish it with wooden trim to make it look nice. But that's definitely the way that we build wooden columns around here, set them on the footing. So this is the backfill material. We're excited to get started. That's what we're going to use your next draw for, is that along with the walls, depending on if we want to go with the Green Solutions insulated foam paneling system, and I'll talk more about that in my email to you. So we're getting a lot of rain. You can see it's super green, and so the land is really loving it and sucking it up. So I hope you guys are doing good in Canada and know you're having everything handled down here.